Welcome to Mastering the Art of Success. I am your host, Debbi DiMaggio. We are here today with Jordan Adler. Welcome, Jordan.
Thanks, Deb. It's great to be here with you.
So excited to be here. So, you are currently, I'm not sure where you live. I know you're in Las Vegas, but I was introduced to you by my friend in Australia. So, where do you live?
Yeah, quick shout out to George McIntosh. Thanks for the
Yes.
introduction. Yes, I'm in actually Las Vegas. Got a condo on the 37th floor of the Waldorf, looking west or looking south, and then I also have a home in the mountains of Arizona in an old mining town called Jerome.
Oh, nice. Awesome. We used to have a place in Scottsdale, Arizona is beautiful.
Yeah.
So let's introduce Jordan. From $200 in rent to millions, Jordan Adler's breakthrough code. At 34, Jordan Adler was living in a garage, earning $14,000 a year and buried in $36,000 of credit card debt after a decade of failed attempts in network marketing. Today, he's one of the highest paid marketers in the world and the number one affiliate for promptings. His best-selling book, Beach Money, has sold over 1 million copies, with 100% of the profits funding microloans for entrepreneurs worldwide. Author, speaker, and co-founder of Momentum Makers, Jordan shares a powerful message of resilience, simplicity, and what is truly possible. Love these photos. Wow. So, Jordan, as we wait for the slideshow to go, give us your, I don't know, short or long story. It's okay. Just give us an intro to where you came from, where you grew up as well. I like to know where people
Yeah.
came from,
Yeah.
sort of roots, and then where you were in that garage to where you are. What was the trajectory? How did you find this?
Yeah, so thank you. I actually grew up in the south suburbs of Chicago in a little suburb called Park Forest. And my dad made $28,000 a year. I had no entrepreneurs around me. My dad required myself and my two sisters to go to college. My parents paid for the first year, and then we had to figure out how to pay for the rest. And I did get a degree in landscape architecture. And it's funny because back then, the way you would, at the age of 20 years old, the way you choose a degree is you just find a lot of times you find some people that you like and they happen to be in a certain major, and that's how you pick your major. And so I picked landscape architecture. Who knows why? And I got my degree, and I had one friend in Arizona that I hadn't seen in years, and there was a lot of building going on. So I had 250 bucks, a guitar, and a suitcase, and moved to Arizona, and just did part-time jobs trying to get my footing because I bought a little $200 motorcycle, trying to figure things out. And during the next 10 years, I got involved in 11 different network marketing companies part-time, trying to get something going, and never made a penny, never signed up a single person. But I always had this dream. Who knows where it came from? I was kind of like wired as an entrepreneur, but I didn't even really know what that was. Started reading about it, joining these little companies, and never made a penny. And then in 1992, I joined my 12th network marketing company, and I kind of cracked the code. At that point, I was 34 years old. I was living in an enclosed garage. My rent was $200 a month. I had $36,000 in credit card debt on 22 credit cards. Had a broken down Jeep that hadn't run for 2 years. And my job, I worked for an airline. I left the field of landscape architecture after about 3 years and joined an airline. And I was working for the airline. I worked for the airline for 13 years. But in 1992, my pay was $14,000 a year at 34 years old, and I was eating macaroni and cheese and tuna fish for dinner usually. And I joined my 12th network marketing company, and I kind of cracked the code. I figured out some really simple, very, very fundamental, simple things that I started applying consistently over time, and built a business that produced millions of dollars in income for me. So I was actually earning $30,000 a month living in an enclosed garage, and my rent was $200 a month. I was traveling.
That's it.
Then I was traveling and I was busy building, and then I decided at that point it's probably not better to get a place, and I ended up buying a nice car, and started living a better life. I was with that company for 13 years.
What was that? What was that
It was a
company?
company called Excel Communications. Do you remember Excel?
A little bit, but tell us what it was.
1% of the U.S. population was involved in Excel, of the adult U.S. population. It was a telecom network marketing company,
Okay.
and I made $8 million there. And
Eight
then, of course, $8 million, and that was after.
million.
And my last job paid me $14,000 a year, but I had been in 11 companies in 10 years and never made a penny. And
Right.
I just learned fundamental things like, how to continue to add people to my network and maintain relationships with those people and schedule appointments and follow up again and follow up again and not quit when things got tough, all those kinds of things. I learned those things over those 10 years. And then finally I just made a decision, and I applied that to my 12th company and made money, a lot of money there. Well, that company was around for 16 years. I was there 13 years, and
Wow.
there was a huge shift that occurred in all business, and that's when everything went digital. Everything was analog, switch based, and everything went digital. So if you had a company that had any technology at all, you were obsolete overnight, like within a matter of 6 months. It's kind of
Wow.
like what AI is doing to business today. So when that
Right.
happened, we went from a $1.5 billion company to a $300 million company in 6 months, and we couldn't pay our bills. And so I was faced with, what am I doing next? And that's when I joined a company called Send Out Cards, and that's where I met George. And I've been building a Send Out Cards promptings business now for the past 22 years.
Wow, that is incredible. So go back, we'll go into send out cards and George McIntosh in a minute, but let's go back to systems. So whether you're listening and if you have a service, product, or brand, we all real estate, whatever we're doing, we have to develop our network, right? And we have to keep in touch with them. So you named about 5 points I want you to go back to and break those down for us.
Yeah. So the first thing is you want to be, no matter what business you're involved in, your opportunities are going to come from meeting people. Normally a breakthrough happens in your life. When most people break out, it's because they met the right person at the right time. It's usually one person that shakes everything loose and takes you to a new level. But the only way that happens is if you're meeting new people. And so you got to
Mhm.
put yourself in positions, whether it be on social media or in person, networking, setting up meetings with people and having lunch, having coffee, getting to know them, find out how you can serve them, and those opportunities will open up in those meetings. And sometimes they don't open up right away. Sometimes it takes years. So you want to keep some type of a Rolodex or a CRM that allows you to maintain long-term relationships with people. And the more people you can meet, the more opportunities. So, like for example, if you put two dots on a piece of paper, two dots, there's one connection between those two dots. Trying to get my fingers lined up here. One connection between those two dots. And then if you add a third dot, now there's two, there's three. You just add one more dot, and now there's three connections, three dots, three connections. Add a fourth dot, one, two, let's see, where's the camera? One, two, three, four. Now there's one more dot, and you go from three connections to one, two, three, four, five, six. So now you've got six connections, four dots, just by you go from three connections to six connections just by adding another dot. And then if you add five, I think it's now 20 connections. So every time you add a dot, it exponentially increases the number of possible connections, which are your opportunities. So the more people you meet, the more people you meet, and the more people you introduce to each other, the more opportunities will be placed at your feet. And so that's the first thing is you want to constantly, regularly, in fact, keep track, how many new people did you meet this week? And then do something to make sure they know you remember them and appreciate
Right.
them. Okay. The second thing,
Now we're in send out cards. I love them.
yeah, now the second
Thanks.
thing is know how to set up an appointment. And everybody
Okay.
does it a little differently. My approach is, if you don't mind me telling a story, this is kind
Not
of
at all.
like, this is my approach. I was at a seminar in LA actually with a few hundred people, and I was sitting in the audience, and I had never made any money in anything. And really, I mean, I think the most I'd ever made at that point was about 20 grand a year. And the speaker on the stage said that consider that your television set is the reason why you're not successful. And
Mm,
so finally, and I'd heard that before, and I was spending probably 3 to 5 hours a day in front of the television, which would be the equivalent of scrolling TikTok today. And so he said, unplug your TV set and build your business. And I did. I had one TV. I unplugged it, put it in the closet, and I didn't have a TV for 25 years. And during those
25.
25 years, during those 25 years, I built my business. Now, I was in a Best Buy electronics store, and I didn't have a TV. I hadn't had a TV in years, and I decided I wanted to get a flat screen for my wall to watch movies and things and sports and things like that. So I go to the Best Buy and I say, I don't want anything fancy. I just want something that maybe is like, $750, no bells and whistles, just something I can put on the wall. And the guy waves. He like waves his arm and he's like, kind of come with me. And I followed him into this room. And we go into the room and it's got leather couches and it's got a big screen TV on the wall. And he says, put these glasses on. And I put the glasses on, and all of a sudden Shrek is playing on the TV in 3D. And Shrek and the donkey are coming out of the TV, and there's just better than anything I'd ever seen before. It was just like so amazing. And I'm like, how much is this TV? And he said $6,000. And I said, I'll take it. Right. So that's all he did was he waved a motion to me to follow him, and he sat me down on the couch and put the glasses on. And and then I realized that my most effective approach, it's always been this way, for getting somebody to take a look at what I'm up to is a come here, I want to show you something. So when I
Love that.
talk to people, it's a form of that. So like Deb, if we had just met and we had a little connection like this, even if we've
Right.
only known each other for a few minutes, I'd say,
Right.
Deb, I'd say, I'd text you and I'd say, Deb, based on our conversation, I have something I want to show you. And what are you going to say? That's how easy it is to set up an appointment with
It's
somebody that
so
a little,
exactly.
everybody that you have a little bit of a relationship with will say, sure, what do you got? And
Right.
then I'd sit down and show you what I'm up to. And then I'd
Right.
find out about what you're up to and see if there's a fit. So, and I know
Absolutely.
it sounds overly simple, but it really is that simple. I set up appointments every single day doing that, even today. So,
That's
so
incredible.
that, so you look so tan and everything, and I'm all pale.
No,
I'm not sure if it's the lighting or because I'm a tan
this
guy. And
spray makeup.
I was looking for the filters in your system so I could put some tan on. Uh,
Zach,
so
put some
the third thing I mentioned was, obviously you need to know how you're gonna present what you're presenting, whatever it is. If you're selling real estate, you're showing a home. If you're in network marketing, you're showing your products in some way. If you've got an opportunity, you want to be able to help people see the opportunity. So you do have to have a sense of that. In my last company, we used a yellow pad and we wrote things out on a yellow pad. Today, I use videos. So I have somebody
right.
watch a video. Sometimes, most of the time, I'm on the Zoom with them and I'm showing them a short 3 or 6 minute video. So I want to
Mhm.
show them what I'm up to. And then
Right.
I'm going to learn about them too and see if there's some kind of a fit between what we're doing and what they're doing. Then it's follow up, and you don't ever want to follow up with things like, "Are you ready to get started?" I usually ask somebody if they want to get started based on their reaction to me. So if they're
Okay.
smiling and nodding and leaning in and asking questions, those are buying signs. That tells me they're interested. And at that point, I might say, Deb, no pressure, but is this something you might want to do with me? Is this something you'd like to get started? And if you say yes, then I talk about the options and help you get started. And and I can usually read, most people can, you can read whether somebody's interested or not if they're skeptical. And so
Right.
whenever somebody's skeptical, you got to be able to differentiate between skepticism and cynicism. So skepticism is they have questions. They're just not sure. Maybe they've got some doubt. That's skepticism. Cynicism is they're just trying to shut you down.
Okay.
They're trying to put you down so that they look better, or they're putting serious walls up. So I go on to the next person if they're being really cynical. But if they're skeptical, if they're just asking me questions, or if they're leaning in but they've got doubt, hesitation, then I need to offer proof in some way. So that can be a video, multiple videos. It could be using your product, trying your product. It could be introducing them to somebody that has
Mm.
some credibility more than you, but then you're offering proof. So that's your, so then in that process, follow up can take a day, a week, a month, a year. I'm now, just in the past week, I've been communicating with and signing up some entrepreneurs with us that I've known for 15 years, one of them 20 years. And
Wow.
there's an opportunity that came up that I wanted to present to them. And so I texted them, I said, Marshall, I want to show you something. And because I have a relationship with him, he says, what do you got? And we set up a call, and I told him what we were up to, and he's interested. And so now we're in the follow-up process. And at some point, he's got all the steps to sign up. He hasn't signed up yet, but he's going to, I think. Right.
Yeah.
So that's the follow-up process. And then, helping somebody get involved with whatever it is you're involved in, whatever you're selling. It doesn't matter. This applies to every business. And
Absolutely.
also within this, in your building your list, or adding names to your network. If your forte is social media, if your forte is LinkedIn, for example, then meet people on LinkedIn and build
Right.
relationships with people on LinkedIn, and then always take it offline. Once you've got a connection with somebody, set up a Zoom and have a conversation, right? Conversations and connections. And establishing and building that list has to come from wherever you're comfortable, but you need to make it part of your strategy. It has to be in your strategy. Where and how am I going to meet new people all the time? Most
What is
people
your
get, yeah. So I'm a networker,
yeah.
and what I do is I usually schedule a Zoom with somebody, or an in-person meeting, and we have a
Mhm.
one-on-one, so I can learn about them, learn as much as possible about them, and I build rapport, right? And then I also do. I like to post really fun, interesting, just crazy stuff on social media. And sometimes I get a lot of engagement. Sometimes I get one like and no engagement at all. Sometimes things take off. You know how that is.
Right.
and
Absolutely.
and I'll usually have a call to action on, not on all of them, but on 1 out of 5, I'll have a call to action like, hey, if you want to learn how to grow your business, shoot me a DM and I'll schedule a call with you, or something like that.
Right.
You know,
Right.
so, and then once in a while I'll get no appointments. Sometimes I'll get one. Sometimes I'll get 5. I'll make a video about building relationships and the power of building relationships. I'll give you an example.
Sure.
I'll give you an example. So there's a guy named, have you heard of Joe Girard, Deb?
Sounds
Joe Girard.
familiar, but I'm not sure.
So Joe's in the Guinness. He just passed away a couple of years ago in his
Okay.
90s.
Wow.
Wrote a book called How to Sell Anything to Anyone. Really good book. And Joe is a car salesman, and he's in the Guinness Book of World Records 12 years in a row for selling 16,000 cars, individual cars, 6 cars a day, every
Oh, my.
single. Now, when you're selling cars a day, there's no time to sell. Those are people that are coming to buy. Those are people that are coming in to buy.
Right.
So what would happen is every day Joe would go into work, there'd be a line of people, even in the winter, waiting
Wow.
outside waiting outside the dealership, waiting for the doors to open so they could come in and either sell a car or buy a car from Joe. And how did he do this? Every single person he met, and this still works today, by the way. In today's
Okay.
high-tech world, people appreciate high touch more than ever. What
Right.
Joe did is every single day, every day if he met you, you would receive a card from him in the mail. And you wouldn't just receive one card, Deb, you would receive a card every single month for as long as he knew you. So one card would say, Deb, nice to meet you. The next, and he would handwrite it. Next card would say, hey, Deb, I haven't seen you in a while. Come in and say hi. Next card would say, happy birthday. Next card would say happy Valentine's Day or whatever, right?
Yeah. Right.
But he'd do it every month for as long as he knew you. It got to a point very quickly, because he was meeting so many people, that he couldn't handwrite all those cards. So what he did was he hired people, and he had
Okay.
14 people that worked 10 hours a day handwriting cards for him. And
Oh, wow.
he'd sign all of them Joe. Well, here's what happened now. The only car salesman that ever did that for you is Joe. You trusted Joe. You liked Joe. He treated you great. You knew that if you were going to go in to see Joe, he was going to give you a good deal. So if your daughter grew to an age where she needed a car and you're going to buy her a car, you'd say, I need to get a hold of Joe. Or if your next door neighbor needed a car, or if you needed a new car. So he had thousands and thousands of people that wanted to buy cars from him. And there's people that have been, Tom Hopkins did that in the real estate business. Tom became a multi-millionaire selling houses by sending handwritten notes. So I do that. When I meet somebody new, I make sure they get a few cards from me a year,
Right.
2 or 3 or 4 or 5 cards a year. And some of those people, like this last guy, by the way, I'll just tell you, I'm not going to tell you his name, but he's the number one hypnotist in the world.
Oh, wow.
And he's been on Johnny Carson, he's been on Jay Leno, and I met him 20 years ago. And he was already big, but I met him at an event, and he was smaller than he is today. And and he's received, I bet in 20 years, he's probably received 50 cards from me, 2 or 3 a year. Gets a birthday card from me every year. And he's a guy that right now I'm talking to. I'm in full engagement with him regarding coming into our business. And he's big. He's got millions of followers.
Wow.
But that's your follow up and maintaining those relationships. And every time he gets a card from me, he texts me and said, "Hey, thanks, Jordan. I really appreciated that card."
I love it. So when
We
we come from commercial break, we're going to talk about beach money philosophy, and then we will talk about what your medium is, which is send out cards. So we'll be
we
right back with Jordan Adler and beach money.
thank you.
Did you know that your beliefs create your entire reality, but it's the subconscious beliefs that do most of the creating? Belief shifter and life coach Shiraz can help you identify those limiting beliefs and eliminate them, often in a single session.
Like it was almost instant, like I had relief right away.
Creating better health, relationships, careers, and finances. Let Shiraz help you step out of safety and into awareness.
Definitely something's happening. It's like a flow inside. It feels good.
Whether in person or online, Shiraz provides personal coaching, belief shifting. Visit Shiraz at energeticmagic.com or call 416-529-7429. Energetic Magic. Find your greater happiness. Be well. Be aware. Be magical. Mike Zorek, a three-time California state champion in Greco-Roman wrestling at 114 pounds. Mike, blind since birth, was born in Hartford, Connecticut. He was a six-time national placer, including 2 seconds, 2/3, and 2/4. He also won the Veterans Folk-Style Wrestling twice at 152 pounds. In all these tournaments, he was the only blind competitor. Nancy Zorek, a creative spirit whose talents have taken her to the stage and into galleries and exhibitions in several states. Her father, a commercial artist who shared his instruments with his daughter and helped her fine-tune her natural abilities, influenced her decision to follow in his footsteps. Ms. Zorek has enjoyed a fruitful career doing what she loves. Listen Saturday mornings at 12 Eastern for the Nancy and Mike Show for heartwarming stories and interesting talk.
Welcome back with Jordan Adler. We are here today talking about beach money. So let's talk about beach money philosophy. What does beach money really mean beyond the lifestyle? What's the deeper message?
Can I tell you where it came from first?
Of course.
Yeah, so I was back when in my early struggling days, I thought it would be a brilliant idea to run an ad in the newspaper, and I saved up for $250 for a 3-line ad, and I would only place that ad once every couple weeks, and I wasn't getting any good results from it at all. But what was interesting is I don't even know where it came from, but whenever I would put the title Beach Money on it, I would get like 20 times more calls than any other title. And I remembered that. And years later, I was doing a weekly conference call with my team as I was building a successful business. And this was before computers, I would handwrite my notes for the calls every single week. And then I'd put them in a box. And I had a big box filled with yellow pad notes. And I said, I need to turn this into a book. So I started writing the book and writing the chapters, but I didn't have a title. And I remembered from back in the like 25 years prior, I remembered that title and what it did to my ads. Even though I'd never had any results, good results from it, the title got attention. So I thought, this is what it's about: beach money, getting paid over and over again for working one time. Like, what kind of freedom would that give you if you had a passive check coming into your bank account every single
Right.
month? What if it was an extra $2,000 a month, or $5,000 a month, or what if it equaled your bills? What if you could replace your phone bill and your car payment and your insurance payment and your mortgage payment and have a passive income? And I thought, if I could teach people, that would be something that would be really attractive to people, and that's what I had been creating in my life. And so I knew that that's what I wanted when I was younger, but I never found the right vehicle and the right opportunity for me to make that happen. And then I finally did. So, most people, when they hear, like, I'll ask you, Deb, when you hear the phrase beach money, what do you think of?
I think, well, I do think of someone on a beach, but freedom. I think of freedom, I think.
Right. So that phrase means freedom to people, just
Okay.
by when they all and everybody wants to know more about it. So I
Yeah.
published the book without an intention of doing anything with it other than just to giving it out to my team, making it available. And it went viral. It got really big, and I sold over 1 million copies, and it's in 30 languages now all over the world. I get
Wow.
messages from people in Vietnam and from Indonesia and from Iran, of all places. My
That's
book is in
incredible.
Iranian, and I didn't even know it. It was
That's
pirated, but that's okay. I mean, it's my,
okay. Yeah, exactly. They know about you.
my book is all over the world, and people get inspired by it. It teaches people how to think bigger. It teaches people to focus on things, even if it's on a part-time basis, that'll produce passive income. It teaches them the mindset, the skills, and how to build a network to do it.
Some of your mindset tools that you teach people in your book.
The biggest one by far is that the reason I didn't make it in the first 11 companies, most of them, was because I would get involved. I talked to a few people. Those people would shut me down. My confidence wasn't there. I'd get a little negativity, and I would decide that the opportunity wasn't right for me or it wasn't going to work. And so I quit. And then
Okay.
I'd do that. I'd be involved for 2 or 3 months. Then I'd quit. And then a few months later, I joined something else. And I did that for 10 years with 11 different network marketing companies. And then I started realizing through my reading and my, listening to audios, that no one has ever succeeded quitting everything they do. No, there's not a book called How to Quit Your Way to Success, right? So what I decided to do was, this was my 12th company. No matter how bad things got for me with that company, I wasn't going to quit. If the company was still around and people were making money, I wasn't going to quit. And so I had three things happen in my first 2 years that, if you had put 1,000 people in front of my circumstances, they would have all quit, but I didn't. And in my 12th company, after 8 months, I had made no money, but
Wow.
my eighth or ninth month, I made $180, which was significantly less than what I spent. And then over the next few years, my income went from 180 to 1,000 to 1,200 to 1,300 to 800 to 1,500 to 2,000 to 2,100 to 500. It did that for 3 years. And then on my
With it.
33rd,
You kept sticking with it.
on my
Wow.
30, on my 33rd month, I made $2,480, something like that. And then by my 40th month, so just between my third and my fourth year, I was over $30,000 a month. And that's the company that I went on to make $8 million.
Wow. So your mindset shift was you weren't going to give up. You were going to
No
stick
matter
with
what,
it. You
no matter
just,
how.
and
And Deb, it's in the moment, like right now, it's really easy for people to understand what we're saying. It's real
right,
easy. But when you're in the middle of it and you're feeling it and you're not feeling inspired. So here's the
right,
thing: we make decisions based on how we're feeling.
right.
And you can't make your decision as to whether you're going to work your business or not based on how you're feeling if you want to succeed. You can't. You've got to do it based on what you're committed to. So it's like, for those of you that have kids, there's many days you don't feel like being a parent because of the way your kid is treating you or what's going on in their life or what's going on in your life. maybe you're sicker than a dog and you've got a kid and you got to take care of your kid, but you don't feel like it. But you do it because you're committed. And
Hmm.
so you have to treat your business the same way. Like I made a commitment I made it at the beginning, I made a 2-year commitment. And then I made a 5-year commitment that I was going to work whether I feel like it or not, which is very, very difficult to do. But that's what it's going to take. And that's what every entrepreneur does.
Absolutely. Well, you're just singing my song. I just published Mindset in Motion, Activate Purpose, Power, and Peak Performance. And I talk about being relentless and dedicated and never giving up and just doing it. I ran the LA Marathon on mindset, not on physical training. And I signed up in February, ran it in March. And this was a year before the book. The book wasn't even an idea at all. It was
Wow.
because it was because of something my son said about how he wanted to challenge himself. And I didn't tell anyone because, and this is part of the mindset in motion method, I couldn't tell anyone. I was going to be 60 and I hadn't trained for it. And I just mentally read books and I said, this could be done. And I did it. And because I have the medal
Congratulations.
that followed me. My son and my brother just said, "I still can't believe that you did that." But so whether it's physical or it's in business, you have to keep going. And when I'm training agents in real estate, you have to stick with it. It might take a while. An agent that I'm working with right now in our office, he's been at it a couple years and he sold one house, but he is determined. He's got a side gig of swimming, teaching swimming lessons, and he's been doing that for years. So he gets to, enjoy that part, but he's not going to give up and he's committed. And that's the way you have to be, as you know, if you're going to succeed. And there's going to, you are going to lose confidence. And I talk about that in Mindset in Motion is that you need that clarity and you need that confidence and that aligned action to move forward. So I love what you said.
Absolutely.
I
And by
couldn't.
the way, you look great at 60. If you had told me 50, I would have believed you. So, or
Thank you.
even 48. Yeah. Congratulations on your book, and congratulations on your marathon, and congratulations on your son.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sweetie. So let's talk about, so mindset is so important, and that's how we get to where we go if we want success. So not giving up. So tell us, what do most people misunderstand about residual income, and what's the difference between, or is it the same, multi-level marketing or network marketing? How would you
Well,
explain
I
those?
would say multi-level marketing and network marketing are the same. It's just that network marketing is a little bit more modern term. People
Okay.
are less resistant to network marketing than multi-level marketing as a term, but the
Okay.
business model is the same. There's even companies out there that call themselves affiliate marketing, but they're not affiliate marketing. They're network marketing. They're
Oh,
multi-level marketing, right?
okay.
And there are 10,000 network marketing companies, actually more than that in the world, and there are good network marketing companies and there are really bad network marketing companies. There are network marketing companies that are very volatile, that are newer, that are unstable, and there's network marketing companies that are very stable that have been around for years. Network marketing is legal. Pyramid schemes are not legal. Multi-level
Right.
marketing is legal, but there are companies that call themselves network marketing that are illegal. So
Right.
you have to do your research, talk to the right people, and make sure that you know what you're getting yourself involved in. And then as far as passive, you asked me about passive income as well, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, go back and
What do
that,
most people misunderstand about
oh,
residual income?
yeah.
Yeah.
So I think most people don't believe residual income is a real thing. Like
Okay.
probably 50% of the population, or even maybe a little higher, 60%, don't believe it's possible. And then and then there's another 40% or 30 to 40% that don't believe it's possible for them. And when you don't believe something's possible for you, you don't do the work, right?
Right.
Why would you invest time if you don't believe something's possible for you? The truth is, it's possible for everyone once you make a decision that this is what you want. There's a lot of
Right.
ways to create passive income. You can buy vending machines. So let's say
Mhm.
you bought a vending machine. A vending machine, a good used one is going to cost you 5 grand. A new one's going to cost you 20 grand. And you're never going to make a lot of money off one vending machine. You're going to have at least 10. So let's say $10,000 for 10 machines. That's $10,000 for 10 machines is what? 10 times 10,000 is, wait, 10, yeah, $100,000, $100,000, right? 10
Yep.
machines, 10,000, $100,000. Now, what are you going to have to do? You're going to have to stock the machines. You're going to have to buy the product to put in the machines. You're going to have to collect the money, count the money, deposit it, all the stuff that comes with it. Make sure the machines don't break, all of
Right.
that. And what I loved about network marketing, and so that's one, by the way, the vending machine example is one way to create passive income. If you get those machines up and running and you hire somebody to do all that work, then you've got passive income. You can buy rental real estate, right? And some people teach no money down rental real estate. There's ways to do it. You can lose a lot of money doing it, but you can buy rentals and get a positive cash flow of $200 or $300 a month on each rental and get a bunch of those. That's another way to do it, right? There's a lot of different ways to do it. You could buy a
Right.
storage units. Well, the vending machine example, going back to that, what I like about network marketing is every time a new consultant or distributor joins your organization, it's like adding another vending machine that you don't have to maintain. You don't have to stock the product. You don't have to collect the money. The only thing you
Right.
have to do is share a good idea with other people. So if I have two new consultants join my team, that's leveraging my time. And it's like additional hours into my work week that I don't have to put in. It's money that's created, and I get a cut of what they make. And so everybody gets a cut as you're building your business. So if you can put in 5 hours a week and you can find one other person that can put in 5 hours a week, you're now benefiting from 10 hours worth of work a week, and you're only putting in 5. And if they bring a couple other people in and you bring somebody else, you might be benefiting from 25 hours worth of work a week, but you're only putting in 5 if that's all you can put in.
Yeah, and you
And
have
this
no.
sounds too it sounds too good to be true for most people, but it's a true business model, and there are millions of people getting paid this way every single month.
I didn't realize there were so many, but so tell us, I'm gonna have to ask you, don't go too long into it, but tell us your product so people know, but then I wanna get a few more questions before we have to end.
You bet. So we have a platform that now works on phone or computer that you can send real physical cards in the mail from your phone. You hit the send button and we do the rest. We print it, stuff it, seal it, stamp it, and send it, all for $2 to $3 in the mail. We're the largest customer of the U.S. Post Office. It's great for expressing gratitude on a daily basis to the people in your network, and and it offers an opportunity as well. If you know other people that you think could use this as a follow-up tool, as a way to get more repeat business, as a way to get more referral business, send out cards is a great product for that. And I use
I
it.
love
I've been using it for
I
years.
started using it when I met George through BNI, and I love it because it keeps my data. It's almost like a second database. I can change it easily. All my contacts is really easy to use, and then I can send out. I spend a little more time because I'm crazy, but I do all personalized photos and make you
Yeah,
have the that you can just send in a click, but I like to create a beautiful card with maybe a photo of them or their family or something. And you can use I'm very crazy on my fonts and style, so I can use the font that I want. So you can go so much deeper, but I just love them. It just makes it so easy, and you don't have to go to the card store and agonize over what card to buy, and then you have to get the stamps and the envelopes and handwrite it. So, but the font does look like my writing, a neater version of my writing. So it's very
yeah,
personal. I have a friend and she has 4 cards of mine in her house. They're just and the quality is very nice. So they're really good. So I'm under George. I haven't really been promoting it because I just use it, but I just think it is a great there's no overhead. The vending machine example was a very good idea, and then let alone if someone breaks the vending machine, you
right.
know? So it's very easy without having to have any overhead. So let's go on to so in my book, I talk about morning routines and getting a routine and, setting up your day. So what does your daily non-negotiable routine look like now?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I have one. And, most of us, we wake up in the morning and sometimes we're feeling really great and refreshed. Sometimes we didn't sleep that well. We were tossing and turning and we're feeling tired. Sometimes we wake up feeling like frustrated and angry because of what's going on in our world, whatever it is, or in the world, right? Whatever it is. But so what I do is I usually use my first 2 hours of the day. Now, if you've got kids and you've got a job, maybe it's your first 20 minutes of the day. But the
Right.
first thing I do breath work, which usually is just a few minutes, like 4 or 5 minutes. I do a little bit of journaling almost every day. I write down what I'm grateful for, and that's a discipline. I drink way more, 3 times as much water as I feel like I need. So I'll chug every single morning when my feet hit the floor. The very first thing I do is I go into the kitchen and I chug a whole bunch of water, 3 glasses of water. And more than I feel like I stuff myself with water. Like I not that's not the right word, but I
Yeah.
infuse my cells with hydration. That's probably a better
Yes.
way to say it, right? And then I get a workout. Not every day, but most of the days of the week, I get a workout. Even if I can only squeeze in 15 minutes, I'm going to do something to move my body and you know
Yeah.
uh, exercise my muscles. Yeah, yoga, lifting weights. I used to run for many years. But when you do 2 or 3 of those things in the morning, you launch into your day with some energy.
Yeah, absolutely. I call mine lock in, and this is the lock in, hydrate, and meditate. So
Yeah,
I do a similar thing, and like you, because my kids are grown now, and I get up very early, so I spend a couple hours really in my zone, which
yeah,
I read my me time, as my daughter once said, busy at work. When do I get me time? And I'm like, what's me time? So I spend hours in the morning locked in, and I just love it.
yeah.
But if you
Music.
minutes, it's okay. 15 minutes, 10 minutes, just do something to set your day off on the right foot, right?
So here, Deb, you may want to write this down. I'm going to give this to everyone. There's a new
Okay.
artist. Her name is Inga Rose,
Oh,
Ingarose, and she's got a song, her hit, that if music is part of your world, this is an incredibly motivating song, like
oh,
so good.
good. I will listen to it right when we get off. So, how do you stay motivated when results aren't immediate? Because you definitely have a record of sticking in even when you weren't doing great.
Yeah, that's a great question as well. So I would say it's about my commitment, because the truth is we're only motivated a tiny percent of our day typically. It can't be based on whether you're motivated or not. I love to be motivated. There's things that I can go to an event and maybe get a little motivated for a few hours or a couple of days, but motivation is fleeting. It comes and goes. Just like, you know, if you took a shower or a bath, you're gonna need another shower and a bath fairly shortly after that, like within a day or 2 or 3. You're gonna
Right.
need another one, right? Because it doesn't stay with you. Motivation doesn't stay with you. So it has to be based on commitment.
Mm.
That's how it's just a decision. It's a decision.
Yes, I love that. That's so true. So, what separates people who almost make it from those who you actually do?
I think that that's probably one of the biggest ones that I mentioned. The other is, you want to do your best to be around people that inspire you, whether you have to proactively reach out to them and schedule time to be with them, attend events that they attend. If
Mhm.
there's a networking event, an opportunity to be around other people that are up to something in their life, because that energy rubs off on you. It helps you to see a bigger picture. It helps you to dream. I think
Yeah,
dreams are a real important part of all that too. That
absolutely.
keeps you fresh. Yeah,
Number one in my five-step method, the first one is to have a goal, dream, and have a goal, and very get crystal clear around that goal. But yes, so important. And so, which leads me to, so what are three of the ways you're getting into your networking, or what are three of the ways that, yeah, they're finding people to network with that are like-minded like you?
yeah. So I've been a member of BNI for 22 years. I was a member in Vegas, and then I was a member up in the mountains in Arizona for a few years, and then a buddy of mine whose father used to be the CEO of BNI. He lives in Phoenix. I live in Vegas, and he for 2 years tried to talk me into starting a chapter in Phoenix. And so we started a BNI chapter in Phoenix, and I commute every single week from Vegas to Phoenix for my BNI meeting. And we've got a very vibrant, healthy 75 member chapter that is just so
Wow.
phenomenal.
How
And
long do you go for?
the meeting is 2 hours. It's a 2 hour meeting. And I usually
Wow.
stay. I'll fly in. Yesterday morning, I flew in the morning. I did my meeting. And then afterwards, I had a few appointments, one to one appointments. I
Okay.
like cigars, so I smoked a cigar with a few of my friends from the chapter, and that's part of
Okay.
networking as well.
Yes.
And and all of that. So and then I flew back early last night.
That's
No, no,
amazing
no.
that you
Also, look at the community you're involved in. If you're not involved in a community, get involved in a community. I'm a helicopter pilot. I learned to fly helicopters today, Debbie. Today is my
yeah,
10-year anniversary of getting my helicopter license.
I noticed the helicopter. We flew on a little helicopter in Moab that was looked like it was the guy built it.
Oh, wow. That's it. Like, oh wow, I don't know about that.
10 years, wow, that's incredible. So
But
you so you have a
I'm
network of people, like-minded people that you're involved
yes.
with, right?
I mean, I know hundreds of people in the helicopter community because of that. Yeah.
We
And so
flew we flew the what's it called? The big, huge one, the Maverick. We went in the Maverick
of the
helicopter to the Grand Canyon.
that's my dream helicopter. Like
That's
I want that. It's a $5 million helicopter new. Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry I interrupted you. We were talking about who you network with and what are the
Yeah,
groups that
so BNI is a big part of it. I just look at like, and I do a lot. I network with people that I meet online as well. When I get a connection, you know,
Mhm.
there's a lot of real negative stuff on social media, and there's a lot of junk, and there's a lot of fakeness. But you want to sift through all that and find your tribe, and then you connect with those people, and then take it offline where you can actually get to know them.
Absolutely. And I guess you might have answered that. What's one relationship strategy with BNI that most people overlook?
Oh, that's a big one for me. In that most people, it depends on what you're building, but if you're building a network marketing business, realize that there's thousands of BNI chapters, and if you promote BNI and get your uh, distributors into a BNI chapter, that's pure leverage. So I promoted BNI like crazy and got into over a period of years, got into hundreds of BNI chapters, my team. And what happens is it teaches your members, it teaches your consultants or your distributors to network. It teaches them, they meet new people. It teaches them how to present. It teaches them so much stuff, and they learn by
Right.
being involved. So I promote, like if I had a real estate office and I had 5 realtors in there, I would have those 5 realtors start BNI chapters.
Absolutely. After being in the business in real estate 35 years and only starting BNI 2 years ago, my piece of advice to people is get in whatever your service product or brand, get in a BNI group. It really gives you the skills and it pushes you because you've got the app. And so you do a one-on-one and you network like we log a one-on-one today. I already have 3 referrals for you just by listening to you. And then past referrals. And of course, I'm always number one on the leaderboard because I do what I'm told. It's like, this is what you're supposed to do. Okay, I do it. So I know Mark is telling us time's up. What is one thing you would tell your 25-year-old self? What advice?
Yeah, it's going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay.
Yeah. And
Because
stick with
back then you don't know. It's like you're fumbling through life trying to figure things out. You're not living the life. You're not living your dream life at 25 most of the time. And
right.
I would probably say, you know what, just relax, take a breath. Everything's going to be okay.
Absolutely. I love it. So how do people get a hold of you, Jordan?
You know, probably best to connect with me on Instagram
Okay.
at beachmoneyjordan. At
At
beachmoneyjordan.
Jordan. I love it. And where do we get a copy of your book?
Best place to go for that is Amazon. And there's actually 2 books. There's Beach Money and Better Than Beach Money. They're separate books, different books, and
Okay.
both of them are really fun
Oh,
books, and you'll learn a lot.
awesome. Well, this has been such a fun interview. Thank you so much. I look forward to meeting you in person and
Absolutely,
continued success to you and get out on that beach. Do you go to the beach often?
all the time.
Oh, you do.
Mostly,
Okay.
mostly West Coast, San Diego, but I'm all over the world. I travel all over
Right.
the world.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for being here today. It
Thank
was a
you,
pleasure.
Deb. It's been my honor, and it's very nice to meet you, and I really appreciate the opportunity to chat with everybody.
Absolutely.
Thank you,
Thank you.
George. Thanks, George McIntosh.
Yes, thanks, George.
Tune in each week for another episode of Mastering the Art of Success with host Debbi DiMaggio. Thursdays, 2 p.m. Eastern. Real stories, real strategies, real success.